Today, we're gonna show you how to set up a Gohighlevel SaaS account from scratch. We're gonna show you how to do it the right way to avoid all the other issues and give you a deeper explanation of what you need to do. Now, this is gonna be a series, so this is gonna be the first part of the series. This is gonna be in a brand new fresh account, and we're gonna show you how to create it from scratch. So stay tuned and build along with us. I got my hands on a fresh new Agency Pro account from HighLevel. That is the $497 plan that gives you the ability of having the SaaS Configurator and auto creating sub accounts that you can put in your actual snapshot and that you can charge customer for. Today, what we're gonna go over is the agency part of the setup. Now, I wanna make sure that people understand what the agency is because this is gonna get super confusing very quickly. So try to follow along. In the agency is going to be the system. So for instance, if today you decided to buy my white label version of HighLevel, I, in my system, would have to have something set up that you would get your username and password from me to allow you to come into my system. The agency controls the systematic emails that go out on my behalf. Now, you have to understand that the agency is limited to only doing system things. It's going to connect your payment processor for the agency. It's going to connect your actual email for the system, and it's going to give you the ability of rebilling what you're going to charge your customers based on usage or based on features. Now, what's important to understand is that the agency is the system. It still requires you to have a CRM sub account. So you know how you're giving people access to their sub accounts, they'll get their sub account. So if you have, let's say you're servicing a plumber, he's going to have a sub account. You're serving an electrician, he's going to have a sub account. Well, you as a business also need your sub account because in that sub account, unlike the agency part of HighLevel, you have the ability of doing the communication for your customer, like sending a welcome message, not a password and username that comes from the system, but an actual welcome message that's kind of customized to you. You're going to have a funnel or a website where you're actually going to be selling the CRM. You're going to be able to do all this inside of your agency CRM account that you're going to create for yourself. It is a requirement because it is something that you're going to want to have because this is what you need in order to collect payments from your customers. On the agency side, you can't collect customer payments. You set everything up in there, but honestly, it's the sub account that is going to do all the work as far as client one-on-one communication, client, management, and more importantly, collecting payment from the client. So understand that when we're building, today we're going to focus on the agency or the back end setup. And in another video, we're going to focus on the CRM sub-account settings, which is going to be everything you need to do in order to collect payments, communicate with your customers at that account level. Now, I have to go into that. You'll understand a little bit more as I kind of dive into it. And if you're a little lost, just kind of watch this back in slow-mo and you're going to kind of get the gist of it, but you're going to kind of understand it a little bit more once I start diving in. So first and foremost, the thing that you have to do right away, and remember, this is the agency side. And it says it's the agency side because it literally says agency dashboard. And if you've bought the $497 plan, you're going to see SaaS Configurator. If you did not buy the $497 Pro plan, you're not going to see the SaaS Configurator. And this is mostly going to be focused on that because a lot of the setup is going to be involved in that part. And the other thing to note is if you haven't upgraded yet, or you're on the $297 plan and you want to go to the $497, make sure to use our affiliate links located in the bottom because you're going to get a crap ton of different bonuses, including 4 days of live office support that nobody else offers. And I guarantee you, and it's not with some other people that don't know the system, it's with myself and another person, but just understand that those people are trained and they're going to be able to answer a lot of your questions 4 days a week. And it's going to be one of the biggest bonuses that we offer in our affiliates that a lot of people don't, right? So when you come in here, you're going to go over to the left-hand side, you're going to go to settings. All right. And in settings, this is the company profile that you have. This is going to be grayed out for me, but this is basically your name, your last name, your email, your phone number, your platform language, which in our case is going to be English. And then if you want to reset your password, you can do that. Now, make sure that here you're going to have the company name that you're going to be able to use to log in. Again, mine is blurred out, but you just make sure it is whatever you want it yours to be. And you're going to hit update profile. The second that's done, you're going to go to company and you're going to start filling in all the company information. But what's really important is you're going to have a company name. We're going to have our business here. Okay. We're going to have a company phone. It could also be a Twilio phone that you could set up a little bit later on. You're going to have a company website. Okay. And You're going to just select a business category if you so choose. I usually go to other because it's service-based, and the business niche is going to be marketing. In our case, it's actually staffing because we run a staffing agency. And at any point in time, if this gets incredibly overwhelming, all this tech, just understand we actually have a service that there is a build charge where we actually build it and charge you, and then we actually give you an employee to run it. It's a pretty awesome offer, but just know that we have that here. If not, just continue on watching. For now, I'm going to put marketing agency primarily to operate as my own customers, white label, and reselling software. We're going to do that. Once I select for white labeling reselling software, we're going to get to the first part right in here. Now, you're going to want to buy a domain that's going to be the name of your new CRM. We're going to do it here because we want to make sure that our staffing agency, we're also going to be building it and managing it for people in here, for anybody that doesn't want to create it. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to build this out in here. Now, after I answer these first initial questions, I get a company logo, I put all this in here. I'm going to go all the way down and I'm going to go to the first thing, which is the white label domain. The white label domain, this part right here is going to be incredibly important because this is how people are going to log into our version of the software, and we want to make sure it's very distinct. Now, we picked the domain architects because that's the name of our staffing agency, and we're going to make this all about that staffing agency. So we're going to create an API domain. The white label domain is how people are going to come into our software. So ours is going to be app.architects.com. That's going to be our white label domain that we're going to send everybody over to. So if you go over here and you're kind of confused a little bit and you want to get setup instructions, all you got to do is hit this. And believe it or not, it's going to pop up with setup instructions with a video and how to exactly do it. Now, it gives you these records, which are super important. You're going to use app and you're going to use that points to. Now, I have Cloudflare. Some people have GoDaddy. You might have different domain providers. This is not a domain lesson. So if you don't know how to set up a record in your domain, there's a bunch of videos out there that don't know how to do it. I'm going to walk you through the Cloudflare version because I can't walk you through all thousands of different domain providers that are out there. So I'm going to come over here to Cloudflare. All right, I have my DNS settings in here. And by the way, you go to DNS, you go to records. If you don't have Cloudflare, you go to GoDaddy, it's the same thing. You're going to hit DNS, you're going to hit records, you're going to hit add record. When you add record in here and you go back to the instructions, it's telling you that it's going to be a CNAME record. It's going to have a host and it's going to have what the actual address is. So we're going to come over here. We're going to first select the type of record it is. This will be the same thing inside of GoDaddy, inside of Namecheap. You just have to find out where you add your DNS records. It's going to be CNAME. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit app because that is where I want it to go based on, again, the directions that I'm getting. And it's giving me white label Ludicrous Cloud at this moment in time of this video. That is going to be where I'm going to add the domain. Oh, sorry about that. And it goes right in here. And the most important thing, if you're using Cloudflare and only if you're using Cloudflare, you want to turn the proxy off. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now that I've saved the white label domain, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to drop this white label domain directly in here. And, oh, sorry about that. I'm going to hit app dot whatever the domain site is. Again, just a cheat. I'm going to copy this right here because I tend to misspell things on a regular basis. And I'm just going to make sure that it's app dot whatever my domain is.com. And I'm going to go back over here and just, again, make sure that this is the right way to go. Now, this is my white label domain. Now, the second I add this domain, like I just did here, what it's going to do is it's going to basically say, okay, well, go set up the record. Well, because I kind of cheated already and I added the white label, I now have the ability to do that. Most people tend to not do this and it never gets done. I just did it. So I'm going to authorize the domain. It's going to see that it's there. Awesome. I'm going to hit authorize and I'm going to type it in again. All right. Authorize and delete conflicts. Beautiful. Now, if I want to log into my version of this software, I directly go in here and I no longer have to use app.gohighlevel.com to log in. I can now use app.architects.com. Now, I'm going to set all this up and we're going to go back to do that. But let's just keep going right here. I'm going to pause the video while this kind of loads. Whoop, it just loaded. Fantastic. Now, anytime a link that I send out from the software, like a calendar link or a link to a certain website inside an email, it's going to use an API domain. I want my API domain to be very brand centric. So I want to make sure that I have something with the name that I'm planning on using. So again, if you're smart, you come right in here. It tells you where to go, brandludicrous.com. You can actually highlight this right here, copy it, and go back into Cloudflare. Guess what you're going to do? Another CNAME record. You're going to come in here, add record, come over here, go to CNAME. Inside of here, we're going to put links and the target is going to be brandludicrous.com. And again, I just wanted to show you how to do this in here. What you can do is you can come in here and if you literally just type in links dot brand of the domain, right? So if I come back over here, I grab the domain here, I drop it, and then I come into the .com. Guess what it's going to do? It's going to automatically add those records. Now, the only problem with this is that if you don't have Cloudflare or GoDaddy, what will happen here is that like you would have to physically add the records like I'm showing you here, which is you add a CNAME record, you put the links, and you grab the actual email address right from here, which is brand.ludicrous.cloud at the time of this video. You would hit save and it would automatically add it. I'm just going to do it so you see it. So you see I have one for app, one for links, and now I'm going to come over here and all I'm going to do is hit add domain. Again, it's going to do it. It's going to override it. No big deal. But that writing only happens if you have Cloudflare or if you have GoDaddy. Every other domain provider, you're going to have to add these records yourself. So just be aware of that, right? But it's literally adding 2 records. Again, there's so many videos out there on how to do this. You just have to find the videos that are specific to your particular, service and then go from there. All right. So it's authorizing it. Hey, we want to interrupt this video for a quick little minute to just let you know that I hope you're enjoying this video. We want to thank you for being here. But more importantly, we are hoping that this content helps you do whatever you're trying to do inside of HighLevel. We also want to let you know that you have options to get additional help. We offer a $197 a month VIP coaching program that includes 4 days of office hours, first come, first serve with Andy or myself, where we go in and we answer any of your questions that you might have live with a group setting for other people that are also working in HighLevel. We also have a VIP group where we answer questions directly one-on-one with anybody posting in that group to give you the absolute best support. It also comes with a bunch of other features, including our funnel brick system, our little mini course, and more importantly, a couple guides that'll help you through this, and also including our SOP library that we use for pretty much everything inside of our agency. So thank you for this quick little minute, but more importantly, go back to the video, get whatever you need, and if you have any questions that we can answer inside the video, just drop a comment on the video and we'll make sure to answer whenever we get a chance. And now back to the show. All right, the next important piece that I want to make sure you have and you fully understand is privacy policy and terms. Privacy policy and terms are incredibly important in this SaaS because remember, if you are now becoming a white label SaaS, you want to make sure that your privacy and your terms and conditions really reflect what you want to do. Now, given a really big example, some people do not allow people that once they're in their account to transfer to other white labels, and then you have to actually put it in your terms of service. If it's not in your terms of service, then you can't really hold people accountable to that. We have terms and service already printed. So I'm going to come all the way down to our website and I'm just going to include our terms and service. You would just go ahead and do that. And all you would have to do is, like for instance, here would be https:// our business, okay, and / privacy. And I'm just going to copy this and it's going to be / terms. Pretty original, right, guys? All right. And custom JavaScript, custom CSS makes all the sense in the world. I'm going to leave it as light theme right now, and I'm just going to change this because that's going to be the name that's going to be everywhere. And again, I don't know why this didn't save our email, our actual site. All right, I'm just going to make sure I'm just going back and I'm making sure I have everything. I have my company phone number, which is my phone number. I have the company website, and then I have the privacy policy. I added my white label links, and then I have custom JavaScript and CSS. We'll get into that. If you're using a third-party support tool like HL Pro Tools, this is where those different things that they give you are going to go. They're going to tell you exactly where to go in JavaScript and some in CSS. Okay, now mine is all kind of set up. Now, you want to also make sure that your address is right for business purposes. So please make sure that in the address field here, it's right and you're setting the proper time zone. We are going to set up the time zone as Eastern in here, even though it says Arizona, because we want the whole entire system to be in Eastern because that's where a lot of our operators are from. Now, on top of that, you're going to have on the right-hand side some really cool things that you got to set up. NPS survey. So every time somebody uses it, especially you have NPS services that you can go back in and you can survey people based on the way they did. Honestly, I leave that in. Product guides, you can turn these on. So anytime somebody wants to see a particular feature on a guide, you can turn them on. Daily updates, a daily report that's sent to you, the client's promoting them to get leads faster. Again, the only thing with this is that sometimes HighLevel pushes their stuff in. It's quite annoying. So we want to make sure that at any given time, you just kind of turn these on and understand what's going on. But just be really careful as you do that. Beta features, we definitely turn on because there's always new cool things coming out and you want to make sure you're jumping on top of it before anybody else. Now you can go back and you can play with these settings, but just understand sometimes we leave them off. Now, here's what's important. Now, here are all the reselling features at the $497 plan that you have access to. What does this mean? This means that anybody that's in your system will have the ability of buying these features. AI Employee is either a per usage or you buy an unlimited package that has like unlimited for the month. You can enable this on. Just remember, you have to make sure that your clients are in a SaaS paid account because if they're not in a SaaS pay account, and they don't have a credit card on file, you incur these charges when they're being used. A lot of people don't tell you that, and a lot of people make these mistakes. we turn all this stuff on. But you specifically to the niche you're serving might never need premium triggers or AI or workflow AI or any of that, and you can turn these off. Just understand, once they are on, they are enabled for everybody's account. This is why it's very important for you to set up rebilling and reselling, and that you have people on a paid account, even if it's for $1, because what happens is if people decide to go bananas and use all these features at an extraordinary level, you get charged at the agency side, meaning you, the agency owner, that is the SaaS owner, gets charged these things if these things are on and you don't have them a paid program. But the way we're building this is we want everybody to be on a paid program, even if it's for $1 a month, because that way it at least captures their credit card information. And if they decide to use any of these features, you still make out. And there's never an issue where it comes on back. Now, all these things, honestly, AI employee, critical, love it. It's one of the best out there, and it's growing even better every single time. The premium triggers and actions for advanced users, but still incredibly effective. Workflow AI, same thing. It helps people in their workflow. So people get very lost in workflows. And if you have the AI there, it actually can help people. Domain purchases, you can actually purchase domains directly inside of HighLevel, and you can resell them, meaning you could charge a little bit more. And I'll go over that in rebilling in about a minute. And then we have autocomplete. Again, this is more for people that want to have very complete addresses. This is a feature that will be enabled, but every time it's used, people get charged. Again, up to you if you want to have it. This is the only one for me that I don't get it, but for local businesses, I've been told this is very important. Template library, where they can have access to all the templates that come with HighLevel. Honestly, it's a no-brainer. Just have it. Enhanced security, 100% have this all on, because you want to make sure that your system is secure, because again, you are now the SaaS owner. You want to make sure you have that. And then configure session timeout. I do not have any timeout settings, because this means if I'm logged into the software, I'm working on something and I step away for 4 hours and then come back, I don't want it to be gone. I still want to be in the system. The only time you would want that on if you're working probably in medical or anything that has HIPAA compliance, then you want to make sure that you probably have that as a session timeout for like 30, 60 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever it is. But those are only the very unique cases where you need the privacy. All right. Now that that's done, let's go over to team. Team is super important. So I want to have a set of people that are working at the agency level. Whoever I set up in here is going to be at the agency level. It's very important for you to understand that this is for you to add your agency employees. You might not have any agency employees. You might have one person, you might have 10, you might have 15. Just understand that when you give people agency access as admin in the agency, they'll have access to all the accounts, but they'll also have access to some agency settings. There are not that many things you can disable. Whoever the owner is, this is the only person who's untouchable, meaning I'm only an agency admin. I can't touch the owner. But if I'm the owner, I can pretty much go in and adjust everybody. Now, what's really wild about this is if I wanted to come in here and I wanted to edit the roles and permissions, I can take away, even though they're agency admin, I can turn things off that I don't want them to have, that they can't turn back on if I'm the agency owner. So just understand that. And then what you can do is you can copy the permission and then give it to somebody else. So you do have control, but I would just be very selective how you rule the agency admin and just make sure that they have the settings that they just need in order to do so. And you can add an employee by literally putting in their first name and the last name and giving it an email. The second you do that, it's going to send a systematic email to this individual for them to sign in, set their username and password and their phone number, which I recommend because there's two-factor authentication inside of this and you want to leave that on. All right, so add your team in here. Billing is super important. This is what you are basically charging, and there's a bunch of little add-on features and how many you sold on the actual reselling, like the other features that other people are leveraging that are all going to be lifted on the left-hand side. All right, now payments is the payments and the things that are happening inside of here. And then you have wallets and transactions. This is, again, what HighLevel charges you, and then it actually shows what's getting charged to the different customers and who's doing what. And if you go into the actual details, you can go into the details of the usage throughout the whole entire accounts in there. And here is also where you set notifications, where you can set conditions of every time something happens in the system, you can send pretty much a condition in here that if I put a notification threshold, add a condition, and global limits, email notifications will be sent above sub-account wallet transactions when wallet usage is $200 in 2 weeks. You could set it so if the wallet kind of goes bananas and all of a sudden, you have a customer who's just using a crap ton of like emails and text messages, you can be alerted so you understand what the heck's going on. All right. For now, we're just going to turn that off. We're going to disable it, but just know that that exists. All right. Phone integration, I'm going to tell you right now, here in the agency settings, when you first come in, LC phone is the way to go. Back in the day, you would be able to set up Twilio and have your own accounts. Honestly, those days are kind of over. If you're an agency owner and you're going to be doing this as a white label SaaS, just go with LC. The reason why you want to go with LC right at this moment in time of this video is one, because it makes the setup and the registration process for the sub accounts significantly easier. Plus, with Lead Connector, which is high-level versions of Twilio, they're charging you a little bit of an upcharge, but you get a lot of convenience. One, the A2P registration and the brand registration that you need to do for each sub account, for each number, gets automatically done through HighLevel in a very easy format. If you have to do it to Twilio, the process is incredibly complicated and it's very hard, not only for you, but for the user. The second thing is there are 3 major features that are critically important that you would want to have for your sub accounts that only work with HighLevel's version of Twilio, which is Lead Connector versus Twilio. That is AI voice, IVR, and call tracking, and like just a whole tracking report in there. If you have Twilio, you cannot do any of those things inside the sub account. If you have Twilio, but through HighLevel, which is Lead Connector, where again, HighLevel charges just a little bit more, you have access to all those things, which honestly are one of the biggest features when it comes to text messaging, voice, and all that. You're going to want AI voice if you're a local business, if you're a coaching business and anything, because you literally can have an AI receptionist that answers the phone for you. So you definitely want to go and do this. You want to make sure that this has all LC phone. And if you have to turn this off, the only way to turn it off is you actually have to contact HighLevel and they have to put you into Twilio. Again, trust me, I came from Twilio. Really not great and not favorable to do. And what's wild is you're going to have the ability in your sub accounts to also do the same. Now, remember, if anybody of your customers, and some customers might want that, like really like corporate size customers have their own Twilio. They don't care what features are there or not there. They will actually have the ability of connecting to Twilio. You have to contact HighLevel at the agency level for them to connect Twilio to that particular account. But again, not favorable because you'll have no access to the AI stuff, the IVR, and for businesses, that is worth way more than you having it hosted on there. So again, just keep that in mind. Email services. You need to create a systematic email that's going to send systematic responses out. Now, this is where, again, it gets confusing. Today, we're working on the backend. We're not working at the sub account, but I need to set up an email that comes from my domain brand name that whenever somebody needs to get a password, something gets reset, they're getting a system notification that I know it's coming from the system. So I want to create a dedicated domain that is going to be specific to this particular system. So I'm doing the backend email setup. You will have to do this again using another subdomain for your CRM that you're creating inside of a sub account. Remember, this is just the system setup. This is not the sub account setup. You're going to have to do that also. And we're going to have that in another video as we start that series. So I'm going to come over here and I'm definitely going to create a dedicated domain. And what we like to use for these is no reply dot whatever your domain is. Now, again, you want to use no reply because this is a systematic message. We don't want people replying to this thing. We just want to let them know that this is a notification system, right? So I'm in email services. Let me just show you again. Hold on. Let me just copy that. I come in email services. It's going to ask me to add that domain, right? You saw it in here. All right. When I hit that big blue thing that came up which says add a dedicated domain, I added that. And this pops up. I'm going to add a new domain. All right, we're going to use no reply because again, this is going to be the systematic messages that are going to come out. And then I'm going to hit add and verify. When I add and verify, you're either going to have to add these mail records to your particular system by hitting continue because this is going to come up, or you're going to have Cloudflare or GoDaddy, which will automatically connect and will add these records for you. Again, can't go over all the different ones that are out there. We're going to use Cloudflare and you see it adds all these records. I'm going to hit authorize. Once I hit authorize, all right, we got to give it a second because it's going to take a minute to write all those records. Now, what I want you to do, and it's super important, do not get off the screen. If you go all the way to the bottom, there is a DMARC record that we definitely want to add. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy this DMARC record. I'm going to go back to my system here. I'm going to refresh it because by now I should have all the other records that I needed to get in there. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit add record and I'm going to go and I'm going to hit a text record, and I'm going to add that last DMARC. Okay, going to come here to the no reply. Then I'm going to grab the second value, and I'm going to put it in content in here. Now I have a DMARC record, which is going to ensure better deliverability for my domain. And it's here. And notice that it has all the other records for the no reply that I added here. The only thing that sometimes it creates an error, it creates two A records. I don't know why it does that, but just leave it for now. If it becomes an issue, we'll definitely pull it. But now let's go back to my white label system right here, right? Here it is. It's kind of all done. What I'm going to do is instead of hitting any of this stuff down here, I'm just going to hit refresh. All right. I'm looking for all green, that it's all verified. Remember, the only thing I did was add this. You might have had to add all these different records because again, you're not in Cloudflare, not in GoDaddy. And by the way, if you have to buy a domain, use those two for anything going forward because they integrate with the system beautifully and it makes it so much easier to onboard clients and do all these other things. So just try to get a domain inside there. And if you don't, just transfer it over or have Cloudflare manage it. Again, this is not a domain class. Sorry if you can't keep up on this particular part, but just honestly look it up on the internet, how to add records. And for your particular domain provider, I guarantee you'll find a video on YouTube for it. So here you go. I hit verify domain and now it's verified. Now here, again, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set headers and I'm going to say system notification. And here I'm going to put no reply at whatever my email is. Okay. And I'm going to hit save. This way I ensure that it goes from that email so people know that this is a system notification. That's what the header is going to be. And then this makes it all active. I'm good. My email's all set. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just go over some of these of understanding that it's going to show all the different features like LC. Remember those features that we talked about that we're turning on the right-hand side? Well, you have LC, you have AI employee, you have workflow, and it shows you all the different accounts it's in here for. You have autocomplete, all this stuff. What's great about here is you can select all these, you can disable them all at once by going to actions, manage rebilling, disable feature, enable feature, whatever it is. So you're able to select all of your accounts all at once, just in case you don't want it to have. Private integrations, if you want to set up a specific API, very advanced, that connects your agency to another, kind of software, you can do that. Affiliates, this is where you want to track all your affiliate IDs so you can start reselling HighLevel. Again, you get this at the $297 and the $497 plan. Custom menu links, if you want to add any links to your version of HighLevel so then anybody can access. So for instance, I want to create staffing. So let me see, people. Do I have a people thing? And the link title is going to be, for instance, staffing support. Okay. And then if I have a link, I come in here. And what's cool about this, now anytime somebody opens this, I can open up a new tab. Or I can open up directly inside a HighLevel so people never have to leave. And I can show in the agency sidebar in the sub account, or I can put it in very specific accounts, all sub accounts, all users, and I'm gonna hit save. Now, if I go into an account, somebody will go in here on the left-hand side and they'll see staffing support, which is something I create. Stripe, really critical that you go in there and you go inside and you connect your Stripe account because this is what's going to allow you to create the plans for the SaaS configurator. Make sure you do this. API keys, these are going to be your API keys that you're going to use to connect your agency. I'm not going to go in there because I don't want to share ours. Compliance is going to be anything that you got to buy with compliance, which is HIPAA certification or GDPR. Let me make sure you understand. This HIPAA certification does not make you HIPAA compliant. It just makes the system HIPAA ready so you can get HIPAA certified that you have to use a third-party company in order for you to do that. Do not get fooled that this is going to make you automatically HIPAA compliant. It does not. All right. Understand that this is going to be HIPAA enabled that allows you to have all the HIPAA things that are required in the software, but you still have to become HIPAA compliant by going through the HIPAA compliant software, just making sure you know that. Labs is where you turn all the cool new programs on that are in beta. And Audit Logs is to see everything that's going on in every single system and everything that you do. These are critically important because this is to track everything that happens inside of your HighLevel white label and also inside your sub accounts. And by the way, you have Audit Logs inside the sub accounts also. All right, let's go over the SaaS configurators. So now I'm back out here. I'm going to click on the SaaS configurators. Notice that in here, it's going to have all the different plans already created. This is the recommended of what they're telling you to sell. But if you wanted to come in here and kind of modify this and create your own, you totally can do that. Now, for instance, make believe my standard plan, I wanted to charge $97 for. So what I'll come in here is I'll take one of these existing plans that they have. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go ahead and I can either delete the plan or I can come in here and click on edit the plan. Now in here, you can call it standard. You can call it whatever the standard subscription plan is. You can call it whatever you want by naming it here. You could go to pricing and we could switch the pricing now to be 97. And if they buy the whole year, I have it all based here and I go ahead and change the plans. Now, on top of it, you can notice that it has a Stripe price ID. These are basically the prices that get automatically updated in Stripe. These are going to be incredibly important because you're going to pull these values in your CRM sub account. So just keep that in mind when you do this, and you're going to hit and save changes. If you want to set a limit amount of users that your standard plan has, you can go ahead and do that because maybe they're only allowed 10 users. Maybe contacts are only allowed 10,000, 20,000 contacts, whatever it is. Honestly, it's so competitive nowadays that I just leave this all on and it doesn't matter. Features, I can come in here and basically add all the features, take away features. I like to add everything on the standard. Again, this is personal preference because it's just easier for me to do. Other people, based on, the different tiers, you're going to want to have like different tiers for different programs. And I go ahead and save changes there. Then after I have my features and my pricing, notice that I have the ability of adding a snapshot. Now, adding a snapshot is like the template where you can have pipelines, funnels, websites, automations, pretty much everything that you built that kind of templated out. So when people buy your particular program, they get access to this snapshot and it automatically comes preloaded with all these things. Now, we honestly have this always set up. I'm not going to show you how to build a snapshot here. This is going to be in preceding demonstrations or workshops or anything else like that. But just know that building a snapshot is part of the course that we have. But what's really cool about this is that once you build the template that you want to give to your customers, if you ever have it, you put it on here. And then basically every time somebody comes in, they get it. The add-ons are important because these are all the different things that you want to sell to your clients. You turn these on based on what you think they need. Honestly, the only one we really push right now is WhatsApp because it's a really good platform to get on, especially if you're international. I'm going to hit save. Now we're going to get to trials and credits. Now, there are different belief systems here and how this works. Some people like to do a 14-day trial, a 30-day trial, a 60-day trial. Look, it's all up to you. The thing with trials is if you're not on top of your customers and giving them an immediate value, they will never complete the trial and you're going to have a lot of things that they're going to end the trial before then. Plus, there's some automations you got to create on the CRM sub account that are going to basically create all that. Now, you can have a trial and sometimes it does work, but you have to be very intuitive of like following up with the customer during that trial period to ensure that the one, they're active in the software, two, they're doing the things that you want them to do so they can see some success. I personally don't give out trials. I never have, I never will, just because I have in the past, it didn't work out for me. But then again, you could do what you like. But if you want to set up a trial, you come in here, turn that on, for, let's say 14 days, and be done with it. For instance, we're going to leave it off. If I want to add credits, meaning credits that they add to their wallet, again, I don't add any credits when they sign up. It's pay as you go. So they'll pay once they start using it. So I don't put any credits on. So I take that off. If you wanted to, where it's a one-time credit of $10. So everybody coming in, they get $10 credit. That's pretty good. I just wouldn't do it reoccurring just because people won't use it. It's kind of a waste of money sometimes. So if you're going to do a one-time credit, cool. I kind of get that. But as far as reoccurring credits monthly, if it's part of your packages and you have some premium packages that you want to include that in, awesome. But mostly, I don't give them any credits either. And I hit the save changes and I'm off to rebilling. Inside of rebilling, this is critically important. This is where you can add the upcharge to everything that you're offering to your clients as far as services and add-ons that you want to have. This is the usage charges, and you do want to set up a little bit. Now, you could be at where you set up, again, 1.5, 2, 3% more. It's up to you. But honestly, we do 1.5 in a lot of our triggers just to kind of give us a little bump in there. Now, I turn everything on. You got to go through each one of these individually. So I have phone, I have LC. So we're going to turn that on. I turn this to 1.5. All right. And we're going to keep going. Turn this on, 1.5. All right. We're just going to keep going and turning them all on. And you could do 2, you can do 1.5. Again, you're the agency owner. You decide what's best for you and what your audience also, because maybe your workflow actions are going to be very critical to their business and your secret sauce is what really sells it. So it's up to you on what you want to do and how you want to do it. But we're going to go in and we're going to turn all these suckers to 1.5. All right. And that's why I really love HighLevel for this, because no other software really lets you do this, especially on the white label. So if you're going to go to like a HubSpot or you're going to go to like any other kind of software and you're running any kind of agency, it's really honestly not my bag, right? So we're just going to do this one more time. Did that save? Okay, I think we have to save one at a time. That's kind of annoying. So we're going to hit save. All right, we're just going to do this real quickly. I'm going to pause the video while I do this. Okay, so I went back in and I saved all this. I have my trials, I have my credits, everything else. This is all said and done as far as pricing, plan details. For some reason, again, this didn't save. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. And then we're going to hit save. Okay, now it's saved. Plan details, I'm just gonna call it standard. Again, all these things are set. Now, here is important. Now, when you go to the SaaS Configurator under Advanced Settings, this is gonna be the settings for everything that you want now. Now, subscription settings, you have suspend sub-accounts when SaaS subscription fails, allow sub-account admins to upgrade the subscriptions, allow sub-account admins to cancel the subscriptions. We're gonna put all this in here because we wanna make sure that they're able to do it. If you wanna make cancellation a little bit harder where they have to reach out to you, some people do this, I tend to do this because I wanna talk to the customer why and what they're leaving for, because sometimes customers are leaving for the wrong reasons, and I wanna make sure that that's not the case, right? Customize email, you can customize the email of what sub-account it's gonna pull from. Again, before you do this, you have to have the CRM sub-account set up. Again, we're not gonna do that today. I just wanna show you how to set the back end. Just know that if I wanna customize my password and username email, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but I'm gonna wait until I go back and do it. Now, in here, because I wanna have categories, maybe I'm having different SaaSes and different plans, I wanna make sure I label this my company name, and I wanna put this in the category of the plans and pricing that I'm doing for this one. I wanna put it under architects because that's the one that we're doing it for. But if I was to create another one, I would create a different set of plans that would go there. All right, so again, I'm gonna have the suspend the sub account when SaaS subscription fails. I'm gonna customize my email and just kind of go through it. Again, you can turn this off. It's completely up to you. We're gonna turn it on. Then I'm gonna go on to security. Security is pause new sub accounts, put new sub accounts on hold until you review. Absolutely not. Verify phone number using security code during sign-on. Yes, I want two-factor authentication. New sub account or request approval. We're not going to do the sub account approvals because again, that's the whole point of making this thing automated, so I don't have to keep checking things in order for it to go, right? The only thing I tend to turn on is, like I said, the two-factor. This is now where it gets super important. You have to have SaaS mode enabled. In order for you to have SaaS mode fully enabled, you're going to create the sub account there where you're going to be processing the payments. We're going to save this for an existing follow-up video so you could see that when we start creating the sub account, what's really needed in order for us to do that. And we're going to leave that empty. Now, on the left-hand side is all the different features that come with this. Now, just quickly going through it, prospecting is a place where you can look for leads, especially in the local atmosphere, where you can basically search a prospect. They have Unlock Premium, which allows you a limited version of this and extra reporting. But if you wanted to find somebody that you wanted to join your CRM, you could do it here. You have sub accounts. This is where you create sub accounts. In the next video, we're going to create not only the agency sub account, we're going to process all the CRM transactions, but we're also going to create our snapshot account that we have in there. We're going to have the account snapshots. When you start creating snapshots, this is where it's going to go. So you would create a new snapshot, but when you create a new snapshot, you have to mirror it off of an actual account. This is why in the next video, we're going to create our sub account snapshot, which means it's the one we're going to build a snapshot in, and the agency snapshot. Reselling, we already talked about this. This is all the reselling that you're going to have, what your price point is for different plans. For instance, the workflow pro plan, the resell AI employee, yes, WhatsApp, all this can be resold. Marketplaces where you can buy third-party apps or buy apps that have to do with HighLevel itself. This is only for agency owners to see. The affiliate portal is your affiliate area that you have. Template library is all the templates that are in here. What's crazy about this is if you have a template inside of existing sub account, you can come in here, create the template from that account, and you can create any of these templates. Remember, it asks always where the sub account is coming from. You could do funnels, websites, stores, emails, social planners, anything that you have that you created that you want to move over as a template, you can do it in here, and then your customers can access it, which I think is pretty cool, right? So you're able to update the library. Partners is if you're a partner to the program or you want to find a partner to help you. University is the university for the agency. This is all the courses that HighLevel gives you when you first join. All right, and actually, okay, keep going. SaaS Education is, again, same thing. These two are all in there. Then you have your swag store for HighLevel. Idea boards, this is super important. Not only is this where the upvote part is, where you can upvote on features, but you can also see the changelog of everything that you ever wanted to know that is changing inside of HighLevel, how often it's happening, what's happening. We go through this once a week, so just make sure that you're fully aware that it's there and it exists. The mobile app is if you wanted to make this a mobile app. And again, before you do this, just understand there's a pretty significant cost to this. I usually, honestly, I leave whatever app it has, which is the Lead Connector app. I just use that. Only when you're a really big name brand do you want to go through this process. Honestly, don't recommend it for newbies. Just wait until you get there. App Marketplace is if I wanted to buy an app that somebody already created somewhere that connects to HighLevel, then I can go ahead and do that there. Not only do I pay for here, but my customers will also have the ability of buying any apps that they need for their particular business into their sub account. And that's honestly pretty much it. We went over all the settings. things. We went through all the integrations and everything else, but this is the first part of doing the back-end setup for your SaaS agency. So hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one.